Sheryl Underwood had a traumatic upbringing, but overcame it all thanks to her guardian angel, her twin sister who passed away shortly after they were both born prematurely. As she has worked through her feelings pertaining to her past, she's also encountered a new set of issues while being in the spotlight. Sheryl has had several run-ins with celebrities and has rubbed online users the wrong way. The backlash she has received leads us to believe that many people in Hollywood really ain't messing with Sheryl like that. Before we get into this mess, don't forget to scoop up something to eat at rrgsnacks.com, our online concession stand that has an assortment of beef, turkey, and bacon jerky, garlic parmesan popcorn, and butter toffee peanuts. Okay, now back to Sheryl. The talk has been a blessing and a curse ever since the entertainer joined the show in 2011. The program has given her the opportunity to share more intimate details about her private life, but it has also been a platform where Sheryl has stuck her foot all up in her mouth over and over again. During a 2013 episode, the co-hosts discussed a statement supermodel Heidi Klum made, where she described that her children, whom she shares with the singer Seal, sported big afros. And after shaving their heads, Heidi stated she keeps some of their hair in a Ziploc bag. In response to Heidi's statement, Sheryl said,
"Why would you save afro hair? I mean, you can't weave in afro hair. You don't never see us at the hair place going, look here, what I need is, I need this curly, nappy beard." That just seems nasty.
I totally get.
When her co-host, Sarah Gilbert, admitted she also kept a piece of her son's hair following his first haircut, Sheryl responded,
"Which is probably some beautiful, long, silky stuff."
Me too.
And the backlash ensued. Nikki Walton of CurlyNikki.com, an online blog that shares information about natural hair care, conducted an interview with Sheryl to give her an opportunity to explain her on-air remarks. During the interview, Sheryl said she knew what she said during that segment of the talk would be misunderstood. When asked to elaborate, Sheryl explained that she thinks saving any type of hair is nasty, and she was in no way bashing natural hair. When asked about the juxtaposition she made between saving curly, nappy, beady hair versus some beautiful, long, silky stuff, Sheryl answered, "I made a mistake. I will own up to that mistake. I'm going to talk to God and change the way I articulate things and be more cognizant." In the end, Sheryl insisted she didn't have self-hate issues, nor was she ashamed of her blackness. A year later, Sheryl was still receiving backlash for her comments, and online users were calling her all sorts of hurtful names.
A lot of people said that I was Uncle Tom.
In an effort to smooth things over, she decided to film an episode of the talk without her wig.
"I am so sorry to my community and my people for hurting you, and I'm asking you for forgiveness."
After the success of the original Kings of Comedy, the director of the film created a spin-off called The Queens of Comedy, featuring Monique, Samore, Adele Givens, and Laura Hayes. During an episode of The Talk, which correlated with each host of the show sharing their deepest, darkest secret, Sheryl opened up about the time she was asked to join the Queens of Comedy, but she said she turned it down because she wanted to know all the details of the deal up front. After the success of the film, Sheryl said that Monique started working on other projects, and the producer, Walter Latham, called her and told her there might be a space available for her to go on tour with the remaining comedians. Sheryl said she was invited to hop on a conference call to discuss the deal, and she called in a little early. To her surprise, she heard Samore, Adele, and Laura talking smack about her.
I hear discussions about my appearance. I hear discussions about my ability. Why is she going to be a part? What do we need her for? And this is my recollection.
After remaining on mute and hearing the entire conversation, Sheryl said she hung up the phone and was startled and hurt by their words. She called the producer and told him the project wasn't the right fit for her, but she wished the ladies nothing but the best.
To this day, they did not know that I was on this call. And I know you're probably thinking, well, why are you saying it now? Because I'm right where I belong.
After hearing Sheryl's version of what happened, Adele appeared on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show and called her story a blatant lie. Adele added that the conversation never happened because they were never on a conference call to discuss Sheryl. The messiness was turned up a notch when the Queens of Comedy producer released a statement on the air of the Ricky Smiley Show, confirming he never invited Sheryl to participate on the tour. During a subsequent interview with 96.3 The Block, Adele said she and Sheryl worked on a project following Sheryl's public statements. Adele said she kept things cordial but also kept Sheryl at a distance. Adele added, "You have to protect your space when somebody invades it with something that's untrue." Adele also reached out to Humor Mill TV website and revealed she was in the process of seeking legal representation because she had plans to sue Sheryl for defamation of character. As of this video, it's unclear if Adele went through with it. And then, some more chimed in about Sheryl's statements. During an interview with The Breakfast Club, some more confirmed Sheryl was never in the running to be a queen of comedy. Some more also added that Sheryl was actually being considered for a project that would entail the women going into facilities to perform stand-up for inmates. And some more did confirm that Sheryl overheard their conversation. She told The Breakfast Club that 2 weeks before Sheryl told her story on The Talk, they were both in attendance at Steve Harvey's annual Hoodie Awards. While there, Sheryl did a skit and asked all the comedians to join her on stage. Sheryl and her The Talk co-host Sharon Osbourne had a tight friendship up until they had a very public disagreement year when Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, told Oprah Winfrey that while pregnant with her first child, a member of the royal household expressed concerns about how dark the baby would be. Meghan also said that palace officials refused her requests to seek mental health treatment when she had thoughts of ending her life. Responding on Good Morning Britain to Meghan's claims, Piers Morgan said he didn't believe the Duchess. He stormed off the set and later resigned after his co-host reprimanded him for his persistent criticism of Meghan. During an episode of The Talk, Sharon came to Piers' defense, while a tearful Sheryl tried to explain that Piers' dismissal of Meghan's claims was race-related. Sharon and Sheryl went back and forth on air.
While you're standing by your friend, it appears that you give validation or safe haven to something that he has uttered that is racist.
How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Well,
Well, what?
We'll be right
Well,
back.
what?
We have more topics, so don't go away.
After the 10th episode, the series went on hiatus and the network conducted an investigation on Sharon's behavior. Sharon quit the show. Sheryl addressed Sharon's exit from the show on her podcast. When asked whether Sharon reached out to her following their heated discussion, Sheryl said no, and she even shared her cell phone call history to prove Sharon hadn't called her. That's when Sharon contacted the Daily Mail and told them not only did she apologize to Sheryl in person in her dressing room, but she also shared screenshots of the text messages she sent Sheryl over the course of a few days. While speaking with the Daily Mail, Sharon said, "Why are you saying I never apologized, Sheryl? What are you trying to do to me? Why are you trying to destroy my reputation? Just be honest. Tell me." So Sharon had text messages to prove she did reach out, while Sheryl was claiming she hadn't heard from Sharon at all. So who was lying? Sheryl addressed the controversy on an episode of The Talk and finally admitted she did receive contact from Sharon in the form of some text messages. However, Sheryl added she was unsure if she was allowed to communicate with Sharon in the midst of the network's investigation. Once The Talk came back from hiatus, Sheryl opened up the show by telling viewers they needed to process the events that happened on the day of the argument so they could all heal from it. During the episode, which included a chat with a sociocultural analyst, Sheryl stated she really wanted to move past the PTSD she suffered as a result of the argument. Piers retweeted a clip of Sheryl from the episode and described her as a shameless fraud. During a February 2017 stand-up show in Phoenix, comedian George Lopez stated,
"There's still two rules in the Latinos family. Don't marry somebody black, and don't park in front of our house."
When a woman in the audience stood up and started shouting at him, George assumed he had offended her, and he called her the B word several times.
Sit your ass down. Sit your ass down. Sit your I'm talking bitch. Sit your ass down.
He then gave her two options, to either shut the F up or get the F out. Then he told her he would make the choice for her and kicked her out of the venue. After footage from the event hit the internet, the woman's friend reached out to Fox News on her behalf and said the woman wasn't a heckler. She actually stood up after George made his joke, put her hands in the air, and jokingly shouted something along the lines of, "F you, I'm black and Mexican, so I'm kind of stuck in the middle." But apparently, George thought the woman was offended by his joke, and he didn't realize she was just playing around with him. The talk discussed the incident during one of their episodes, and Sheryl came to George's defense.
But when you come into the venue, you have to expect what happens in the house, and he who holds the mic or she who holds the mic runs the house. I am pro-black female, but if you put yourself into it, you're gonna get lit up. I would have said, that's why ain't nobody gonna marry you, because you talking in my joke.
And once again, Sheryl was called every name in the book for excusing George's inappropriate behavior. By this point, many people are still upset with Sheryl for the things she has said and done in the past, but the public disapproval hasn't slowed down her career. In March 2022, she renewed her contract at The Talk with a multi-year deal to include seasons 13, 14, and 15. Being controversial has certainly paid off. If you enjoyed this video, let us know down below, and thanks for watching RRG.